Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I have never been more excited about a sports show in my life than I am right now. Stop acting like an Eskimo, Shane.
You've never been more cold, dog.
It's not that
you were going to start that.
You can't hide the Nigerian in you, dog. The Nigerian is like yelling right now.
Hey, you know what, though? Hey, a real quarterback, he going to make sure his team comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
He did.
You know what I'm saying?
He wants to be comfortable. Here is what I was taught, because everybody's saying that I keep it cold in here. They all cold.
They say, not just us.
Everybody. James Jones. What happened that one day before a preseason game? Aaron Rodgers was his quarterback.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy was his head coach.
Yeah.
It was James Jones. It was Jordy Nelson. It was Randall Cobb. Mike McCarthy said, hey, James Jones, we are not going to play this preseason game with the ones. It was unnecessary. And Aaron Rodgers said, what, James Jones?
He said, I want to play.
He said, I want to play.
All right, where this plane going?
The plane is going here.
Landed.
You might think it's too cold. You might think it's too cold.
It is too
But look, sometimes Shady McCoy do the calls. We got to go.
Real quick, before
We got to go.
You got to get comfortable being on.
Brothers, it's cold. This is not Nigeria.
This is not Nigeria.
You got your heated blanket, don't worry. You can take the man out of Nigeria, but you can't take the Nigerian.
Amen.
Hey, look, we are 100 days away, 100 days away from a new NFL season. Congratulations, beautiful people. You have made it halfway through the NFL all-season. Hey, if this is your first time watching the facility, thanks for watching.
I like the
If you're watching any show,
We getting close?
you're hanging out with us.
7-point favorites. That's it.
I mean, but do y'all really care? Y'all know how it's going to end. You know, in the result. Eagles going to be doing the, confetti out again. You know how that is. Saquon, Jalen, you know how this thing going to go.
Hey, look, this is Eagles all-time rushing leader, Hall of Famer, LaShawn Shady McCoy to my right. To my left, 14-year NFL vet, the quarterback, Chase Daniel. On the far end, wide out. That's James Jones. Hey, what you do know is this. The Timberwolves are on life support right now after losing another game, this one at home. Ant-Man Anthony Edwards had an abysmal, and I suggest an abysmal statistical performance, you could say. Just 16 points. Am I reading that right? 16 points? Is that right? 16 points?
No,
16 points! Take a listen.
How to kind of hit you for the fact that you guys both struggled at the same time tonight?
I don't look at it like I struggled or he struggled. They had a good game plan, making us get off the ball. Especially for me, man, it was super in the gaps. I made the right play all night, so I don't really look at it like I struggled. I didn't get enough shots to say I struggled, so that might be how you guys look at it. But yeah, I didn't struggle at all. I made the right play.
Of all the introductions I just gave, I missed the most notable one. Now joined by NBA analyst extraordinaire but terrible betting insider, Slick Rick Bucher. Hey,
that
true
is
story.
An unfair shot.
Terrible. Slick is a savant, an absolute basketball genius, this man to my left. Shady will tell you he knows everything there is to know about the game of basketball. Shady bypasses me to talk to this man, Rick Bucher, when talking about basketball.
Yes,
I called Rick yesterday before needing advice on different sorts of bets and all these types of things. And Rick, once again, gave me terrible. Terrible.
We missed on one. We missed on one part. You will note that Shady does not come to me for gambling advice.
Slick, let me come to you for basketball advice. James, coming to you, Shady, starting with you. How much blame do you put on this man they call Ant-Man Anthony Edwards in a must-win game, now down 3-1 to go to the NBA Finals? How much blame you put on Ant-Man?
Shady?
Yes, sir.
Small amount. The small amount is just because you are the superstar. The T-Wolves are you.
Yes,
right?
sir.
I think when you think about T-Wolves, you think about Ant-Man for sure first. But if you really watch the game, he wasn't as effective offensively, and they had a great game plan for him, first of all. And then I was thinking about, man, you look at all the different defensive game plans for all the superstars, Haliburton, Brunson, it's phenomenal, but it's nothing like this. So first of all, you got a lot of first team or second team all defensive players on him. You got Dort on him at one period of time, right? Then you got Caruso guard him at one particular time. And then Jay Will, as well as he played offensively, he's a hell of a defender. They was guarding this guy at half court, and they was trapping him all day long, getting the ball out of his hands, forcing different turnovers, and making other players make plays. So I'm not going to fault Ant-Man for that, because you see the success that his role players had because of the attention that he was getting. And then on defense, I'm a type of player, if I can't affect the game by rushing the ball, okay, now throw me the ball, right? If I can't do that, then I'm going to block very efficiently because it's all about the team. And I thought he did play well defensively. Now, Julius Randle, I'm going to blame him because he didn't show me no effort. I watched numerous of times guys shooting 3 balls in his face. I watched him not rotating. I watched him couldn't score at all, one-on-one. Now, this is swarming defense, but there's a lot of times he had one-on-ones and he couldn't score. It's like he was out there playing basketball with Tim's on and jeans on. He was moving in slow motion. So if you want to blame a superstar, go to Randle because Randle's been playing well all season, not all season, but all playoffs. He's been playing well, and he hasn't done it. So I'm not going to blame Ant-Man because I don't hate Ant-Man.
Time out.
I need time.
You need 20 seconds or you need a minute?
Give it a minute.
Okay, get your minute there.
Give me the full.
Get your full time out there.
I blame Ant-Man Edwards in its entirety. Any blame I don't give the Thunder, I give to Ant-Man.
Gotcha.
First off, the man to my right is a superstar. LaShawn Shady McCoy, for those that are unfamiliar, though I assume you're very familiar. He's a superstar. Eagles Hall of Famer. I went to the induction where they put his jersey in the Raptors to forever live there. Superstar. No superstar as well. But with great responsibility and praise and all of these things comes the necessary performance that I haven't seen from Anthony Edwards. What I love about my relationship to basketball at this junction in time, because we do a daily sports show and we primarily focus on football during football season, I'm not so far into the forest that I can't see the trees. Some basketball players and basketball experts, they're so stuck in their opinions that they're not far enough away from an object that they can actually see it. I am with Anthony Edwards. I have no bias. I don't care if he plays well. I don't care if he plays bad. I'm just a sports fan. When I watch him, I don't see enough. I don't see the man that Shady McCoy is describing. Anthony Edwards did not take a shot, attempt a shot until less than a minute in the first quarter. Less than a minute in the first quarter. Didn't even attempt one. Didn't even attempt a shot. And you're supposed to be a superstar? In whose world? Based on what category? You're supposed to be a superstar. You don't even attempt a shot, so I thought this. Because yesterday, Shady said, hey, Acho, think about this, though, bro. When they're not shooting, they're still impacting the game. I said, he's right. But then I looked and I said, wait a second. Shea got 40. So how much of an impact defensively is Ant-Man making? At the point in which Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is scoring playoff career highs in that game. The Thunder are scoring 128 points as a team offensively. So how much of an impact defensively is this Ant-Man making? Because Shai, on the other end, is scoring 40 points. Not that Ant-Man is always the primary defender, but if you ain't going to score more than 20 points offensively, at least hold their best player to under 25 points. But Shai's scoring 40, you're scoring 16. Okay, maybe Rick this. Maybe Ant dropped 20 assists. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he wasn't scoring viewers, and as a result, everybody else was scoring. But that's not the case. Because Ant-Man didn't even have double-digit dimes. Maybe he had 25 rebounds. Maybe that was it. That's not the case, because he only had about 4 of them. So if the dude got 6 dimes, and the dude got 4 boards, and the dude got 16 points, but he's a superstar? Superstar? So the reason I'm putting it on Ant-Man, because as Shady is a defendant for his superstars, and as he should be, the man to my right, as I have suggested, is a superstar. Ant-Man, I got to see it. Yeah. I got to see it.
When you watch the game, right?
Of course.
So
lost money on it.
What would you have liked him to do differently?
Be much more aggressive from the start.
But where, though?
Shoot. There were opportunities to take shots.
But I'll say, explain that, because I don't know. When I watched, they was swarming him every time he got the rock, right? And you talk about making the right play. I feel like he made the right play every time. See, it's one thing to say to go out there and score, but it's like, how? Rick can tell you when he goes, he's going to tell you the way they was game playing for him and taking him out the game, it's hard for him to have clear shots. But we're on the other side. SGA, they was letting him play one-on-one, and they was helping out in the lanes. They wasn't rush him until late in the game.
There have been greater players, in my estimation, there have been greater players with greater game plans than Anthony Edwards has faced. And those greater players who have seen greater game plans have put up a shot more than 1 minute into the first quarter. Now, I also suggest Ant-Man. You're on a team with Julius Randle. With all due respect, he's too slow to create his own shot, especially against this defense. You're on a team with Rudy Gobert. He's not doing anything offensively. You're on a team with Mike Conley. This is the starting lineup, viewers at home. And you're on a team with McDaniels. By the grace of God, he's putting up 20 points a game, but he only averages 12 points a game. The best shot is the shot you take at this junction in time. With the game on the line, the career on the line, the season on the line, the career of the season, that is, the best shot, with all due respect, Ant-Man, it might be to pull up three. It might be going to the cup, drawing two, and then throwing an oop to Gobert. That might be the best shot.
Let me say this. First off, I give none of this to Ant-Man.
None.
I don't give none of it to Ant-Man.
16 points and none.
I couldn't disagree with you more.
None.
And I'm about to break it down to you, right? So I was a really good role player, right? Starter, really good role player. But I had number one receivers on my team that got the double teams.
Okay.
And in those games, Aaron Rodgers would be like, bruh, you got to win to get the double team off of Greg Jennings. If you don't win, the double team going to be on G all game long. That ain't fair to G. So you win your one-on-one battles. I stood up here, didn't stand. I sat up here and I heard Slick and Nacho say, the best player in the playoffs this whole time, Julius Randle. He's this, he's that, the best. Y'all told me that. Y'all told me that. Last time I checked, he's an all-star too.
All-star.
He's an all-star.
Yes, not a superstar, for clarity.
He's an all-star.
Yes,
like when they go to the all-star break, he was in that game.
Yes, sir. Not to be confused with superstar.
He's an all-star. Y'all told me this is the best player. So when I need you to help me get the double team off of me, you're nowhere to be found, sir.
Sure.
I don't know if y'all watched the game. Did you see Lou Dort? All right, Lou Dort played the way I tell my kids to play, right? Because in this AAU circuit, all these parents think their kids is like that and all that, and they not, right? But we got a superstar on our little AAU team, too, the Gremlins, too, right? And we travel Nike circuits, Adidas circuits, all
Gremlins,
that.
I like
right?
that.
So I tell my kids, as they playing, you ain't got no fouls. This is me as a dad on the, you ain't got no, which let them know, go harder. Yeah. And you better start playing some defense. Lou Dort used all of his fouls. He was picking Anthony Edwards up full court, playing defense, double teaming him right off the screen, get the ball up, help me, Anthony Randle. Another thing,
You saw a double team
I'm different from them other parents. I'll yell to the coach, take him out. He ain't helping.
Uh-oh.
And my wife would be like, don't do that to him. He ain't helping.
Uh-oh.
And I ain't worried about you. He ain't helping. Get him out, coach. And all the parents know that, too. I don't care how much money we pay. You ain't helping. Get out. Julius Randle, you was on the bench, dog. In a must-win game 4 at the crib, you was on the bench. And we blaming Anthony Edwards, who they sending 2 and 3 bodies at. Acho, if Anthony Edwards was cranking threes up or going through triple teams and all that, you know what you would have came up here and said? Make the right play, Anthony Edwards. You forcing shots. He would have. Yes, you would have.
Has Steph Curry never seen a double team? Has LeBron never seen a double team? Has Kawhi never seen a double team?
And they probably gave the ball up.
Has Kobe never seen a double team? Has SGA never seen a double team? Has Joker never seen a double team? Has Jalen Brunson never seen a double team?
And what do? They probably get a ball up.
He saw a double team. What's he going to do? He saw a double team.
They coaches put him in a situation to win. That's what they do. Go ahead, Slick.
All right.
I'll let you go do your thing.
First of all, saying that Julius Randle was their best player through the playoffs to this point, not the best player in the playoffs, but the best player for the Minnesota Timberwolves through the playoffs.
That's what y'all said.
Is an indictment of Anthony Edwards because he is their best all-around player. Julius Randle shouldn't be their best player. He has been. I wanted to clear that up.
Thank you, sir.
Is Anthony Edwards the Minnesota Timberwolves' best player?
Absolutely.
Of course.
He did not set the tone. All right? He's the only guy who played 12 minutes in the first quarter for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He took one shot. Took it what, in the last minute?
Last minute.
One shot. Took exactly one shot. He did not lead. All right? He wasn't aggressive throughout the game, setting the tone. And then he did not close. He took 6 shots in the fourth quarter to make 6 points. There were guys off the bench who did more. And Shady, you're right. Like, you're both right in terms of
Who's both?
what the expectation
Who's
is.
both?
What's that?
You said you're both right. Who?
You and Acho are both right.
Oh, he's right? Okay.
Yeah. Because what we're seeing is that Ant doesn't have the game to be able to do what we expect him to do with the talent that he has. And the number one thing, the worst thing that has happened to Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves is that Anthony Edwards decided, I want to be like Steph Curry. And he put all of his emphasis on, I'm going to shoot the three. I'm going to develop the three. And he did it at the cost of his mid-range. Because that's the problem that we're seeing here, is that the only time he can operate, he didn't develop Steph's off-the-ball movement because Steph gets locked up by Lou Dort and all these guys, and somehow he still ends up getting the ball and making magic. The only time Ant can really operate is when you get him the ball at the top of the key, and now you have a set defense in front of him. And he's told us that Dante DiVincenzo is the one who tells him what the defense is doing. Like, if he's going to be your best player, if he's going to be your driving force, he has to be able to diagnose that himself. And he's not capable of that at this point. And so we're asking him to do some things that he cannot do. And because Alexander gets the same attention defensively. But the reason that he's able to operate is because, look, can I see the mid-range difference here? This is the difference between the two of them operating from the mid-range. And that bottom thing is probably the most important. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander takes almost 6 shots a game from the mid-range. Ant takes 1. He has no mid-range game. And when you get to the playoffs, that's where you operate, because they're going to run you off the three. Yep. They're not going to let you finish at the rim. So how well you operate in the mid-range then gets the defense to collapse, and now it opens it up for everybody else. And Ant he took more shots from the mid-range last season than he did this season. Okay. He's abandoned that in order to become a three-point shooter. You know what? If I'm the opposition, I want Ant operating from three-point range. Because now all I'm dealing is he making them or is he missing them? But if he's getting into the middle, now I got to worry about my defense reacting to him.
Let me bounce back real quick, James Jones, because they're going to make me work today. I thought today I was under the weather, so I wanted to kind of chill. That's why we turned down the temperature.
When
we're a team, I just kind of screw, but now I got to work today. I'm cool. I like that, though. See, I do this basketball thing, too, though. Okay, so we blame everything on Ant-Man, right? And you guys say he didn't play well and all this and that. Cool. So let's go to these superstars, right? Because in basketball, we care about the superstar. That's what makes the team roll. Sir. Nobody just win without no superstars. Of course. And Ant-Man's a superstar, right?
You know, this is coming off as whataboutism. Because we're not talking about Ant now. We're talking about...
No, I'm going to get to it now real quick. And then before I get to that, you said something about the mid-range, right? I'm sorry, because the last 7-8 years, we don't even talk about mid-range. That's a bad shot nowadays. But I guess because my man SGA's doing it, we're going to love the mid-range. Cool. LeBron James. As great as LeBron James is, I watched when this time he didn't carry this squad. Wade used to step up, and then LeBron carried him late. Steph Curry's my favorite player, because you brought Steph Curry in there, right? I've watched games, right, where we're down in Houston, and Steph can't get no buckets. Everybody guarding him up. You know who carried the load for him, though? Klay Thompson. Couple of times. OKC, they elimination. Steph couldn't do nothing, nowhere. Covered, blanket. Deion Sanders coverage. You know who carried him? Klay Thompson. Then once the role player, Klay was rolling, then Steph came about. And you see him in the fourth quarter take over games. Should we keep going here? Luka and Kyrie, though. As much as we're going to talk about Luka so great, there was times when he couldn't get buckets. And who was carrying him? Kyrie Irving, helping out. JT and JB, we watched it last year. Let's go to the champs. I don't want to go too far. Steph Curry might be too far for y'all. Let's just go last year. Last year in the finals, right, that whole run, Eastern Conference Finals, all right to the real finals, right? We talked about how JT's a superstar. But in the playoffs, he was lacking a little bit. You know, stepped up with him, James Jones? JB. He stepped up so well, you know what he got? Eastern Conference MVP and Finals MVP. So as much as you want to blame Ant-Man, when we a team and you got a superstar A and superstar B, we do this thing together.
I'm looking at two guys who stepped up. Jaden McDaniels.
Talk about it.
22 points.
Yes, sir.
9 for 15.
Talk about
Dante DiVincenzo. 7 for 11.
A lot of wide open threes.
You talking about role players. You talking about role players. I'm talking about my A superstar and my B superstar.
No. You want
who gets all the attention.
That's not correct. You can't pick and choose where it comes from. You can't pick and choose where it comes from.
What was the score last night? 128 to 126.
Here's what I'm saying.
So I'm gonna break it down.
Go.
No, well, he asked me a question. I got to answer.
Fine, go.
So 128 to 126. Yeah. So you're talking about some role players. Yes, you need role players to play well. Yes, but what makes the factor why guys make so much money and it's a different salary for different people is because I need my superstar to do his thing, and I need my superstar B to do his thing. That's how it works.
But talking about? Here's what I think what you're saying is unfair. You need the superstar to do his thing, and he needs help. Mm-hmm. Where that help comes from is to some degree irrelevant. It came from Jordan Poole in 2022. Jordan Poole was here today and gone tomorrow with the Warriors. It didn't come from Klay Thompson. It didn't come from Draymond.
It came from Wiggins.
Came from Jordan. Well, it came from Jordan Poole in the first round. And then it came from Wiggins when they got to the finals against the Celtics. But to your point, it came from a variety of places. We didn't say, dang, Wiggins, where you at in the first round? We didn't say, dang, Poole, where you at in the last round? We just said, thank God Steph Curry has help. Also, in regards to Jason Tatum last year in the NBA Finals, you're right, but we killed him for that. What we say about Jason Tatum, is he the best player on his team? Is Jason Tatum even worthy of being a superstar? Jason Tatum can't be the next face of the league. Exactly right.
I don't care about that.
But I'm saying we all criticize Jason Tatum. So I can't come up here and now and say that Anthony Edwards is without blame. So that's all I'm saying. I can't say he's without blame.
So really quick, Slick, though, because we all watched the game yesterday. And it was a lot of buckets made by OKC. Mm-hmm. And their second superstar had 30+ too.
Come on now.
So every single time, really, to be honest with you, down the basketball court, they made the shot and they was able to set their defense up. Mm-hmm. So if you're Anthony Edwards and you coming down the basketball court, what are you going to do? What do you want Anthony Edwards to do offensively? Their defense is set up. It ain't like it was a bunch of fast breaks and he could come down the court and attack the basket, because it wasn't a lot of that, because they made a lot of shots. Mm-hmm. So they were able to get their defense set up. You've seen the game plan. What did you want Anthony Edwards to do? 4 shots?
I wanted him to be more aggressive.
But I'm
because
saying,
his ability,
coming off.
How was the defense dramatically different in this game versus the previous game?
I was double.
You did have more missed shots, and they were able to get out faster. But Anthony, I think you guys are underselling Anthony Edwards' capability.
That's where I'm.
Like his ability to take people off the dribble and to split double teams. He's demonstrated that he can do that.
He did, Slick. But I think they tired him out. You got 3 all defense of NBA type players on him. All defense NBA players on him. Dort, you had Caruso, and then you had Jalen Williams. Okay, hold on. Them 3 was guarding. Taking turns on him, right? When one's tired, okay, I got him next time. And then, did you see how they was swarming him? They was swarming the whole game. So my thing, real quick, if I feel like in all sports, you can take whoever you want out the game. Mm-hmm. So my thing is, if you take Ant-Man out the game, right, with the defense strategy, now we need Randall to take over. The same thing, even if SGA, the times when SGA did go to the bench, Jay Will was carrying them boys.
It's not that I even, truth be told, here's what it is for me. It's not even that I disagree with Shady or disagree with James. That's truly not it. What it is for me is I just want to stop talking about Ant-Man as if he has already arrived to be some prodigy. That is it. Like, if we want to talk about Ant-Man in 2 years, fine. But if you want to say Ant-Man didn't need to do that much or did all he could, or the 16 points, the 4 rebounds, and the 6 assists, if y'all want to say that was enough, fine. But at the point in which we keep hearing, he reminds me of Jordan. Oh, he looked like a Jordan. He might be them jokes about, is he one of Jordan's? At the point in which you're talking about Ant-Man as Jordan in the face of the league, I'm just stop. Just stop. I'll agree with what you're saying, James. I'll agree with what Shady said.
You know what's coming up.
Sure, but then let's talk about it when it gets there.
So really quick, though.
So
really quick, because the young fella, 22, 23 years old.
Young.
He done been to back-to-back Western Conference championship.
All NBA.
A lot of us wasn't picking him to get there this year. He helped get his team there. If y'all want to say Julius Randle's segment. My thing is though, like, what do we want from Ant-Man? Because we come up here and we say, Ant-Man got to see the court better. He got to make everybody around him better. And then now we're saying he got to split double teams and do, like, what's the play, though, Slick?
The play, that's the question for Anthony Edwards. Because Anthony Edwards gets the same attention that all these other players that we put him in a category.
I know, but some of these players is different, though. Steph Curry running off 100 screens and all that. It's not like he, super ball. They're different players. Ant is bringing this ball down the court. It's easy to have him give the ball up.
There is nothing that Steph Curry does or has learned about how to breaking down defenses that Anthony Edwards can't. It's not a physical thing. It's a mental thing of understanding where I need to go and how I get free and how I draw fouls like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He should be going to the free throw line in the same way. All of those things are learned. And that's why at 23 years old and with all the talent that he has, I'm not saying that he can't be that. But when I watch him play, his game is a very simple game. And it needs to be more complex. He needs to understand how to think his way. Look, when you're setting the tone, when you come out and you're playing this game, and you only take one shot in the first quarter, and your team is down by 7, your team comes out slow, and you're the best player, I need you to be aggressive. I need you getting to the free throw line. You don't know how to get to the free throw line? They're chopping the ball out of your hands? You need to learn how to break that, which means you need to be able to play in the middle of the floor. He can't play in the middle of the floor. There are limitations to Anthony Edwards' game from a mental standpoint.
Right.
I hate to say it. He just plays a really young game.
And he's 23.
And as a result, the Minnesota Timberwolves play a really young game. They're going to go as their best player goes.
I agree.
Right? And that's where he takes them. And so he's just not there yet. And that's my biggest issue, because I think this is what's unfair, is we're already crowning him as a certain type of player. But he's not there yet. And if we do that, then what's his motivation to complete the circle?
So I just think that, like, all the things that Slick said is right, that maybe he's learned that part of the game. And there's nothing wrong with that. Steph Curry, we keep talking about him, my favorite player, but it took him.
He had to learn how to do it.
Okay, so
no question.
But the difference is, it took him, 27 was his first year he won his title? Yeah. Took some time, right? Yeah. LeBron took some time. But the thing with Ant-Man I love is that everything you want to check your box for your superstar, he's doing. Mm-hmm. He's 23 years old. He's in back-to-back Western Conference Finals. Yep. All NBAs and all that. So, yes, maybe he is young, and he has to learn some things. I'm not disputing that. But I will say is he's on the right path.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And he has arrived. There's a lot of guys that at 23 would love to have his resume at 23.
No. And it's going to keep. Now you're being because Ant can be so much more than that. If you look at his pure talent,
listen, man.
He's just doing it on talent. I don't want to shortchange him. I don't want to say he's arrived, because he's not maximizing what he's capable of.
His career ain't done tomorrow. You tell me at 23. Hold up, first, because we talking about the greatest elite level of competition is NBA. Mm-hmm. All around the world, they come over here and they play, right? Mm-hmm. At 23 years old, the brother is all NBAs, right? All-star appearances. He took his team, the Minnesota Timberwolves, who we didn't think much of, back-to-back to Western Conference Finals, and we acting like that ain't good?
No, he just said he hasn't arrived. You said he hasn't arrived.
I don't know.
I'm not saying that's not good. It's great.
So what's arrived then? Winning the championship?
Yeah.
It's only a couple of them guys doing that.
But he's going to do it.
But Luka's arrived too, though, right?
No, Luka hasn't arrived. Think about it. Think about what Luka's game still lacks.
Oh, okay.
To me, arriving 100%. Is getting to as good as you are going to be.
So you only arrive if you win a chip? Is that what you're telling me?
If your ceiling, arriving is getting to the destination. The destination is how good you're going to be. I don't think Ant-Man is as good as he's going to be, so I can't say he's arrived.
So when Kevin Durant was with the Warriors, did he arrive before he got there? Or he arrived after he won a championship?
KD won MVP, so you could suggest he arrived before then because he won MVP. So KD was already as good as he's going to be.
All right.
But arriving is saying, like, I've gotten to as good as I'm going to be.
No, arrive is saying I'm one of the best players in this world. I'm one of the most elite players in the world. That's arrive.
So all these all-star players that don't got rings, they haven't arrived yet?
I didn't say arriving is contingent upon getting a ring. Arriving to me is, have you gotten as good as you are going to be as a player? Dan Marino never got a ring. I'm not saying Dan Marino never arrived.
So how can Luka get better?
So here's the
defensively, completely, and get in better shape. Completely.
You have great players who get theirs.
Ooh,
the elite players get theirs, and they get it for everybody else. Like, I'm never going to question a great player. When I look at Luka Doncic, and I agree with that, he has not arrived because when they got to the fight, he got him to the finals, and then they weren't able to win because of him. If I have a great player, he gives me everything he's got, and I got to figure out what else I need to do.
Last year, when SGA was with them type of number, did he arrive or he arrived? When did he arrive? When he won the MVP this year?
I don't know that he's fully arrived yet.
Hold on. So when we're sitting here talking...
Wait, SGA ain't arrived? He's not arrived. He's still flying.
But we're defining it differently. Like, we've created the definition. Your definition of arrived is, are you a superstar player? That's not my definition.
Arrive is like, yo, I'm one of the best players. When we watch this game, I'm one of the most elite players in this.
If based on that definition, sure, he's arrived.
But I'm asking y'all, for y'all definition, as arrive, you win a chip.
No, arrive for me is, have you maximized your ability? Are you as good as you are going to be? So that's what arrive is.
So
for
let's say, because athletic ability-wise, Luka probably ain't never going to be a good defender. So let's say his career's over in 5 years and he got 10 first-team All-NBA appearances and all these All-Stars. He didn't arrive?
That's hindsight, right? I think Luka can get better. Because I
think, though? You saying defense?
He's the leader.
All I'm saying is if Anthony Edwards has the ball and Luka's guarding him, he ain't guarding him one-on-one. So what I'm saying is he's not going to get better defensively. But if he continues to do what he's doing offensively and the player he is and he don't win a chip, he ain't arrived.
Again, winning a chip does not dictate.
But I'm just saying, if he don't win a chip.
Listen, I got it. Wait, this. Luka's been All-NBA 5 times in a row.
Hold on.
Is that over before you hold on?
I'm lost right now. I'm lost, though.
No, he hasn't.
We got it. Luka's 5 times straight. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight. All-NBA. First team. Is he not arrived?
I don't believe so.
Is Luka as good as he could be?
I'm done.
What else can
How much money you gonna get? Though? You got the 5 first teams. You know how hard it is to do?
I don't want to.
This is crazy.
That.
This is crazy.
It's like, what can he get? You saying defense?
Think about this.
Yo, I'm done, yo.
Think about this for a moment, then.
Oh, my
Steph Curry was a really, really, really good player. And then Steph Curry got even better on defense. And then that's when I would suggest Steph Curry's game got complete. When he was no longer the same defensive liability that he had used to be in the early on.
He's still liability.
He was no longer the same defensive liability. Not to say he's not a liability, but Steph Curry, he had an aspect of his game that he was like, I still need to elevate.
And he did.
Elevated the defensive
So
aspect
defensively, what do you need from Luka?
I need one for him to just get in better shape.
Yeah.
So that at the end of the games, that his statistics offensively don't completely decline, and that he's not just a turnstile on defense. Hey, speaking of defense, the Chiefs, the Eagles, they went to the Super Bowl last year, but who is closer to getting back? We are 100 days away from the NFL season.
Slick. It's your fault.
Jalen Hurts
You let him get away with this, Slick.
Sports Channel, Sirius XM.
Are you kidding me?
Hey, y'all, we're 100 days away from the start of the NFL season, which has us thinking about the cream of the crop in the NFL. That's the Chiefs and the Eagles. In the Super Bowl, both teams last year, the Eagles kept the Chiefs from making history and three-peating. And what the Chiefs did was allow the Eagles to make history, winning their second Super Bowl in franchise history. Both teams start OTAs today. Off-season team activities. It's time to get to it. Quarterback, time for you to get to it. Who do you think is closer to getting back to a Super Bowl, Chiefs or the Eagles?
This is not a difficult, this is a difficult question to me, but I got to go Chiefs. And the Chiefs for me for 3 reasons: experience, coaching, quarterback. Coaching and quarterback to me are the 2 biggest movers of any franchise in any sport in America. If you have a good coach or a great coach, and you have a great quarterback. Number 1, experience. The Chiefs just in general have more experience than the Eagles. And I'm not just talking about playing game. I'm talking about playoff experience. Since Mahomes took over as the quarterback, okay, a couple things. They've been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. The Chiefs have played 21 extra playoff games since 2018 when Mahomes took over. The Eagles played 12. Eagles are 7-5 in those playoff games. The Chiefs are an astounding 17-4. So you got the playoff experience. You played about a season and a half of meaningful football. Then you go to coaching. In my opinion, I think Andy Reid's arguably the best coach of all time. Like, obviously, like Belichick, great. And what is the one thing that Andy Reid needed to really get over that hump? Guess what? It's a quarterback. And what did they do? They went out and drafted Mahomes. They got him 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. Who's the best quarterback in the NFL? It ain't even close. He's on another level. It's Patrick Mahomes. Who's the best coach in the NFL? In my opinion, it's not close. It's Andy Reid. I'm taking coach, and I'm taking quarterback, and I'm taking playoff experience. Those 3 things for me, you can never count the Chiefs out.
Can't count them out, but I'll respectfully disagree, and I'll say it's the Eagles primarily because of roster. I think if there's something that can overcome a coach, a quarterback, and experience, I think it's just a significantly better roster. The Eagles lost about 5 or 4 significant starters, all of whom they have replaced. At the bottom, you're seeing Kobe Dean. You lose him to injury more than likely this year. You got Jihad Campbell, first-round pick out of Alabama. Working your way from the bottom up. Darius Slay, we have to wait on his replacement. I believe it'll be Ringo, former fourth-round pick out of Georgia. You lose Josh Sweat, you have Hunt. You lose Mekhi Becton, you draft Steen. You lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. In the second round, you get Makuba. First and foremost, of a Super Bowl team to only lose 5 starters, and you all can actually dispute how many of those starters in the left-hand column are all that significant. But to only lose 5 substantial starters, what I would suggest are substantial, and then replace them 2 top 2 round picks, another draft pick, I just think the Eagles roster is so much better than everybody in the National Football League. I think the Eagles are more prone to get back. Interestingly enough, their conferences are relatively similar. You got the Raiders, you got the Giants. You got the Cowboys, you got the Broncos. You got the Chargers, you got the Commanders. Their divisions, rather, are fairly similar. But I think the Eagles' roster is just so good that I would give them the edge right now, 2-5.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with either. I mean, Chase said some good things. You know, you said some good things. And I totally agree. You know, one thing about you I learned from you on this show, I do. You know what I mean? They say, "Shit, you getting better on TV?" And I say, Acho. Acho take. This is my pick this year. The Eagles versus the Chiefs. They're going back again.
Back to back.
Right? I think you look at you look at the roster with the Eagles, but then you got the quarterback and you got the coach over there, and they're all similar. If you want to be technical, I mean, you got the OGs and you got the young guys that's right underneath them. That's why they keep seeing each other in the Super Bowl. Last 4 years, you've seen them play twice each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think you might not like the answer because it's not biased. It's just straightforward, honest. That's who I am. That's what I do. Look at the Eagles. Look at the Chiefs. They're going to be back again.
Yeah. Respect to Andy Reid and Patty Mahomes. They special. Obviously, the AFC going to be a little bit more difficult.
It's always difficult for them boys, though, and they always get there.
True facts. They accomplished a lot. But for me, it's the Eagles. And it's the Eagles because of the roster. I think they have the better football team. And I know each year is different. I don't know how this year is going to go. And every time I give a take, I go off of is if everybody's healthy. I don't put in no injuries. I don't put in nothing if everybody's healthy. I can't erase how big the gap was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, jeez.
I just can't erase it.
It's in your mind?
It's in my mind. And not only that, it wasn't a lot of big losses that the Eagles lost. And it wasn't a lot of big gains that the Chiefs got. Correct. For me to be sitting over here like, ooh, the Chiefs got George Pickens. About to be different over there. There's not a lot of big gains. So for me, that gap in the Super Bowl, man, it shouldn't have been that close. And they had the better quarterback, and they had the better coach. And they got blown out. So I can't erase that in my mind, and these are really identical teams coming back this year, and if they both stay healthy, I don't know how the Chiefs beat the Eagles.
And that's why I like the question, because it's who's closer to getting back to the Super Bowl. It's not who's closer to winning the Super Bowl. So your answer is great, but there is a gap, right? But we're not talking about it. They play in completely different conferences, and quite honestly, I have to disagree with what you're saying. I think the Chiefs' division is much more difficult than the Eagles' division, right? Like, you look at the NFC East versus the AFC West, to me, it's not close. And I think this is sort of what I wrestled back and forth when I was answering this. I'm like, you do have a lot of proven, older, experienced guys with the Chiefs. That was my issue with the Eagles a little bit, was they have lost those 5 starters. Now, you have new guys. You don't know that they're proven. You don't know what they're doing. And another thing that, it's not a huge deal, it will be interesting to see, is that the Eagles have a new offensive coordinator. And look, I'm taking coaching along with the Chiefs. They have their same guys. Steve Spagnuolo knows how to call up plays in the right situation at the right time. Now, they got schooled in the Super Bowl, but how is Kevin Petula, the new offensive coordinator, going to call plays with Jalen Hurts? Is Saquon going to be able to get busy like last year? I mean, there's not a lot of question marks for the Eagles at all. So you almost have to, look deep to try to find them. That's how good of a roster is. But that's why I wrestle with going with the Eagles.
They always have a new coordinator.
Yeah, Kellen Moore was a new coordinator.
Yeah. But
that's what I'm saying. There's not a lot of holes with the
Eagles. The way he coached is way different from how they played this year. Yeah. If I say AJ told me, players tell me that the offense is really the offense.
No doubt.
They don't care who the corner is. You come over here to fit the Jalen Hurts offense.
No doubt.
Wouldn't you agree that you would, for quarterback, it's the most important position in sports, in my opinion. And you look at Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, and what Jalen Hurts has done the past few years has been unbelievable. He's played better than what I expect. He's played better than what a lot of people expected. Don't you think the consistency of a Patrick Mahomes, wouldn't you trust him more to take the team further than Jalen Hurts? That's why I went with quarterback.
It's interesting because
good question.
It is a really good question. Patrick Mahomes gets the benefit of the doubt. He's Patrick Mahomes.
Always.
Honestly, even criticizing him, people at the surface make it sound foolish. Patrick Mahomes' regular season the last 2 years hasn't been very consistent.
You're
You know that.
saying numbers-wise.
Yeah, even play-wise.
Yeah.
Like, he's thrown some picks. You're going, that's interesting. Like, he's
he
pressing.
always-
His receivers aren't very good. Remember 2 years ago, receivers led the league in drops. Then last year, it's like, Pat's not really doing much statistically, da-da-da-da-da. I think Hurts, it's fascinating. Hurts is so good at winning at this point in time. I just can't count him out. I just can't. He's so good at winning. He makes the right play. If it has to be a 44-yard scramble against the Rams in the playoffs to get on the board, it's a 44-yard scramble. In the Super Bowl, if he's got to find Smitty with the game on the line, he finds Smitty to really break the whole thing open. They're completely different quarterbacks. Obviously, Mahomes is obviously better, but Hurts is just so good at winning.
Like, that's the thing with the Eagles. It's not a Hurts just thing. So when we go with the Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, I don't want to have that conversation because we don't need to have it. Because we went through Saquon.
Yeah.
So if you want to compare that, you want to say, hey, do you trust more of Hurts and Saquon versus Pat?
Yeah.
But I will say this, though. It is a lot of quarterbacks that play Patrick Mahomes that press.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts. Like, Jalen Hurts does make all the right plays when he plays Patty.
Yeah.
You know, he went in the Patty building and beat him the last time when they was there, too, obviously in the Super Bowl. So I will say, like, the Joe Burrows and the Josh Allens, it is a little pressing because you know who's over there.
Even Lamar.
Even Lamar, too. I think Hurts knows. I got 26 in the backfield. I got number 11 out here. I got to press.
That
He makes
defense,
the right
we got a lot
plays.
going
He
on
does.
over there.
He does.
That's why I said
It's definitely the best roster.
it'd be like the old Cowboys versus Steelers type of always see each other,
Back and forth, back and forth.
three, 4 times. So it'll be a good one.
We'll see how it shakes out.
gotta be talking
100
good
days
about the
away
Eagles.
from the start of the NFL season. Just a couple hours away from the rematch between the Knicks and the Pacers. It is Game 4. No home team has won a game yet. Pacers lost last time, so who's under more pressure? Haliburton, the Pacers star, or Brunson, the Knicks star? That's next.
Come on now. Come on, son.
It's on, Eastern Conference Finals. Let's get to it. The whole world will be watching. Grab your loved ones, gather around the TV because the stars will shine bright. Haliburton for the Pacers, Jalen Brunson for the Knicks. Now, I cannot wait for this matchup in large part because Brunson has a lot to prove. Yes, the Knicks got a W, but they didn't get it because of Jalen Brunson. He was navigating foul trouble the majority of the game. So you got superstar Jalen Brunson on one end. You got Olympic gold medalist Tyrese Haliburton, star in his own right, blossoming star on the other hand. Rick Bucher with everybody watching and all the attention on the biggest game of Haliburton's career thus far. Who's under more pressure tonight, Brunson, Haliburton?
It would be Rick Brunson. Simply because in the last game, his team arguably was better with him off the floor than when he was on. He was the only New York Knick to have a negative plus-minus as a -6. And if I look at what happened with the Indiana Pacers, Haliburton wasn't as aggressive as we've seen him be in previous games. But Pascal Siakam, to me, and him losing his matchup and not being what we've seen him consistently be, was a much bigger factor in them losing the game ultimately than what Haliburton was or wasn't doing. And so Brunson's supposed to be that guy. That's the one thing that we've always consistently said. Like, he's the guy who drives the bus. And he wasn't that guy in this last game. So now the question is, are you going to step up and be that guy again? Was this just a blip on the radar? Or was this something that the Indiana Pacers have figured out and they have the kryptonite for what Rick Brunson has traditionally been?
Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
Why do we take it easy on certain superstars?
Like who, sir?
Tyrese Haliburton's supposed to be, we praise Tyrese Haliburton. Tyrese Haliburton's supposed to be a superstar and all this type of stuff. And sometimes he come out here and have 4 points.
James, he's not the next face of
And
the
we don't,
league.
I'm not even saying face of the league. I'm just talking him and Brunson right now. Like, he comes out here and he a superstar player, gold medalist, whatever, all-star, and he be having 4 points. And we come in here and
Might
we
have
say,
4 points, but he'll have 12 assists.
we say Siakam.
He will. I mean,
matters.
he's a distributor first and foremost.
It's Tyrese Haliburton.
Yes.
I hear y'all tough today. Y'all.
They think you work today, right?
Stars and superstars are built in different ways.
Yes, sir.
Look. Yes, sir. It's Tyrese Haliburton. Listen, man, you at the crib. You just gave up a 20-point lead. You took 2 games in New York. You lose this game and you don't come out here and be the best player on the court, the superstar player that you are, and your team goes back to New York for Game 5 down 2-2, I think you're in trouble. I really do think you're in trouble. Jalen Brunson on the floor or not, foul trouble or not, we know what he's going to do. Tyrese Haliburton is an inconsistent superstar. Whether y'all want to talk about the assist or whatever, he's an inconsistent superstar. He is. Some nights he have 20, some nights he have 4, some nights he have 10, some nights he have 30. Right? He's an inconsistent superstar. That's what he is, right? But we praising him right now because in the playoffs he's made some big shots. But he is an inconsistent superstar. But to me, tonight, all the pressure's on you. You cannot go back to New York 2-2. You have to deliver for your team. I don't want to hear about no Siakam and all these other role players, and we putting you in the conversation with Brunson and all these other dudes that's superstar players. So for me, all the pressure's on him tonight. You talk about an emotional leader. He the emotional leader. So lead. You know, I need you to deliver tonight, and I need you to deliver a dub, and I need you to be part of that reason why you win, too. Not just out there on the court because your name Haliburton.
I couldn't disagree with James more.
You probably couldn't because we've been disagreeing all day.
I couldn't disagree with James more.
That's all good.
Well, first off, I don't think Tyrese Haliburton's an inconsistent superstar. If you want to suggest he's an inconsistent scorer, sure. But Tyrese Haliburton's best characteristic and trait isn't scoring. So I vehemently disagree with him being inconsistent. 1,000%. Dude averages 11 assists a game, but averages 17 points a game. I mean, he might as well have as many assists as he does points. So I vehemently disagree with that piece. Pressure's on Brunson. Has Brunson left a game this series yet that he feels good about? I don't think so. Game 1, 43 points, but they lost. Game 2, I think 38 points, but they lost. Game 3, they win, but I don't think he played well. I just don't know that Brunson's felt good about a game. I felt good about a Brunson game. That's different. But I know stars, and Shady McCoy maybe can speak to it. I don't know if running back is the same, but I could speak probably more to quarterback being a leader of a basketball team. I know stars who are like, I don't care if I balled if we lost. And I know stars who are like, thank God we won, but man, we won in spite of me, not because of me. So I don't know that Jalen Brunson has left a game this series that he's held his head high and felt good about. Even if you watched him and Cat at the podium, and I don't have the video because I didn't ask for it before the show, but if you watched him and Cat at the podium after the last game, Cat was smiling, hat on, because Cat knew, oh, not only did we won because of me. We won because I went crazy. Brunson kind of felt uncomfortable sitting there like, yo, I still kind of sucked. We won, but I kind of sucked. I think it's on Brunson to leave the game feeling good about his performance. I don't know that he's left the game yet feeling good.
You know, in interviews, when he balls for 40 points, interviews, he's the same way. Just so you know,
Yeah.
when they win, he's the same way.
Yeah, to be fair,
He got that Kobe
you don't
Bryant
see
in
him smile a whole lot.
His dad did a good job with him. I disagree with you, but I agree with you also. The most pressure is on Jalen Brunson, Rick Brunson's son. And the reason is because, first of all, when we look at Brunson, we don't look at him like we look at Haliburton. We know who the real superstar is. We know who the clutch player of the year is. We look at Brunson, he carried New York. New York would not be nowhere like this without him. That's for one. Yeah. Number two is, I hate the narrative that I'm hearing now, right? Because you didn't play well, back-to-back games in foul trouble, and it's people that cover the game, that know this game very well, saying stuff like this. Oh, I don't know now, man, because now they won the game. He didn't play well. He was on the bench. Should we give him less minutes? Mm-hmm. Should we let other players get his minutes? Should we let more rope? What? No. The ball needs to be in Jalen Brunson's hands because he's special. So you talk about the pressure, it's more pressure of hearing the whispers from people that, and now when you hear the whispers, now teammates might think, yo, man, hey, bro, I should be playing a little more. Mm-hmm. And it's always like the outside noise that comes inside of a team that divides it. That's my second point. My third point is, since 2021, right, any team that goes up 3-1, they're 36-0. Ooh. Yeah, so we can't lose this game. We can't go back to New York down 3-1. We can't win that. I think for Brunson to be who he is, the leader, the fierce offensive scorer, the one that tears your heart out, we need him back. And the last thing is stay out of foul trouble.
Yes.
It's nothing probably more frustrating than being a superstar player that everybody knows about, right? That the whole city of New York is counting on. Mm-hmm. But when you in foul trouble and you can't go out there and play, and you got to hope that the backups play well. Yeah. You got to hope that Cat has another 30-some points performance. Because we know when Brunson's out there, what type of performance he gives.
It's just crazy because the game that Brunson had last game, we would be praising Tyrese Haliburton. 21 points, 7 assists.
Not 1 assist. Brunson had 1 assist last game. We're not praising Haliburton for that. With all due respect.
But they're not in the same category, so I won't compare them. They're not in the same
And that's
category.
the problem,
They're not in the
though.
same category.
That's the problem.
Rick
Brunson's like that.
Brunson will be coming up again later in the show. That was a tease.
Hey, when we return, the Steelers are 100 days away from their season starting. Well, 100 and change, but they start off-season team activities today. However, they're starting it without the man who's supposed to start at quarterback. How can you have success if you don't have the engine in the car? That's Aaron Rodgers. Should they give him a deadline next in the facility? Hey, the Steelers have yet to get Aaron Rodgers in the building, but they start OTAs today. What that means is the whole team, they're there. They're on the practice field, helmets, jerseys. Things are starting to come on, but Aaron Rodgers is yet to sign a freaking deal. The next day to monitor, that's June 10th, when the Steelers have their mandatory minicamp. James, I want to start with you because Aaron Rodgers alone joining the Steelers isn't enough. It's Aaron Rodgers playing well, in shape, locked in, that's enough. I remember, I will never forget, after my junior year in college, I wanted to go to the league. I'd already gone to a national championship game at Texas. We had started 26-2. We had only lost 2 games. I did everything I essentially wanted to do at Texas. Brother went to the league. I was ready to go to the league. Earl Thomas, everybody was leaving. I was like, let me go. My coach said, Acho, if you come back your senior year, you'll get drafted higher. He said, but it's not just coming back your senior year, you'll get drafted higher. That's a lie. He said, you got to come back. You got to stay healthy. You got to pass your classes so you don't get suspended. You got to get stronger. You have to get faster. You got to watch more tape. You got to play better. Then you'll get drafted higher. Everybody thinks Aaron Rodgers just joining the Steelers, they'll get better. No, Rodgers has to join the Steelers in shape, locked in, healthy, as agile as a 40-year-old can be, and then they'll play better. So at the point in which he ain't showed up yet, does he need to show up? Like, should the Steelers give him a deadline?
No, they should not give him a deadline. Aaron Rodgers knows the certain deadlines he needs to be in there by, and that's training camp. You got to be in there by training camp and get yourself ready to go play. And they are better with Aaron Rodgers because of what they have on the roster at the quarterback spot. What does better mean? Playoffs, not playoffs? I don't know, but they are a better team with him out there on that football field for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But to be honest with you, man, I even think Aaron Rodgers passed, like, the chemistry and the connection. And I think he's past that because, number one, it takes a lot to build that. Like, everybody always says, man, how you know he's going to throw back shots? Well, that's 4-5 training camps. That's not one training camp. So we can't expect Aaron Rodgers to be on the same page with DK Metcalf that he was with Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson James. We can't. Like, that's a lot of training camps. And to be honest with you, I think he passed that. Hey, man, I'll be there at training camp. What's the playbook? Let me go try to go out here and play well. I still know certain areas I want to put the ball in, all that, but trying to get on the same page chemistry-wise and have that special chemistry with people, I think that's over. And I don't even really think that he's chasing that, because if he really was chasing that, he would have been in OTAs or all-season workouts and all that trying to accomplish that. And I know he threw with DK Metcalf, but to be honest with you, I just think he's chilling right now. He's enjoying himself. I do think he wants to play football. When training camp comes around, he knows it's time to get back out there and go play.
Yeah, he's eventually going to be the starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I went back and forth on this, but I ended on a deadline is meaningless. It means absolutely nothing, because the problem for Pittsburgh is they back themselves into the corner and they have zero leverage right now. The person with the leverage is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers can ride this out. You know, I thought it would be, hey, 2 weeks before training camp. You're saying training camp. I hate to draw the comparison here, but it's too easy not to, is Brett Favre. Remember, he signed back in 2009, which is my rookie year. He signed with the Minnesota Vikings in the middle of August. He wasn't there for the start of training camp. We thought he was washed up. He didn't even have a good year with the Jets the prior year, you know, like the Packers, all this stuff, retiring, not retiring.
NFC Championship.
That was the best year of Favre's career. And we played him in the NFC Championship game.
Take it easy.
It was one of the best years, in my opinion.
There you go, one of the best.
If not the best. But I draw that comparison, like guys like this, like a Rodgers. He had a good year for all intents and purposes last year. Now, if I was him, I'd want to be in. I'd want to get the offense learned. I want to do this. That's the thing that I am a little bit worried about is when they went to Minnesota and Favre went to Minnesota, it was all Favre's offense, okay? Coach Childress was the head coach at that time. Here, Arthur Smith, he likes shifts and motions, and he likes playing under center. Favre does not like all that. Favre likes to see it, static formations. Hey, I can beat him with my arm, and that's good. Yeah. I just want to see how that will work because there will be a give and take. It won't be just Rodgers' offense. It won't be just Arthur Smith's offense. It's going to be a mix. But a deadline is pointless. Like, if they set a deadline, before you go, Acho, if they set a deadline of, I don't know, July 25th, around when training camp starts, and Aaron Rodgers doesn't show up July 25th, what do you think the Steelers are going to do?
Wait.
Nothing. Yeah. You think if Aaron Rodgers I want to sign August 17th, but your deadline is, no, they're going to sign him right away. A deadline right now is pointless.
He don't need no deadline. What they going to do? They got a room full of backups. Exactly. Come on, dog. Like, and I think Aaron Rodgers, to give him that respect of, he's a professional, right? And I think when you're a professional, you play this game for so long, maybe your attribute, that might leave you. Maybe the arm strength, some things might leave you. But professionalism, that don't leave you. Him being on time for training, being in shape, having his body physically ready, the mental game ready. Like all the things he does, he can do that in his sleep because he's been a pro for so long. I mean, you don't get 4 MVPs without being a professional. So I'm not worried about that part of it. I guess it does suck for the team just because, you're waiting on this player, and let's say he wakes up and just has a bad morning and says, you know what, I'm retiring. Yeah. No matter if I gave you my word, right? Put
yourself in this situation.
But then I blame them too, though. Yeah. And I never really feel bad for the owners and the NFL teams because you got all this money, all these resources. Go get you a quarterback.
Yeah.
But the last point is, we seriously argue these points. If it's a deadline, not a deadline, and all that, you're going to say your little point. It don't really matter. Because if he's dialed in today or dialed in August, the same results. Chase brought up a great point. I'm like, man, that was a great Brett Favre. I just watched his little documentary. I'm like, man, Mike, they had Adrian Peterson.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, they did.
Where now you're not even the best player on the offense.
That's what they did.
When Aaron goes there, he's probably the best player on the offense. I don't know how y'all view DK.
Aaron will be the best.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, this is a different thing. And like the Steelers are not the old Steelers. I played in the Pittsburgh, okay? And they had a crazy gangster defense. We fight you off the bus and we'll beat you in the game, okay? And then they ran the ball solid. Big Ben at the time was still nice. AB was, you know how AB get down. Crazy work. But now look at him. The defense was giving like 30-some points.
Le'Veon Bell, they got.
You know what I mean? Like the defense ain't the same. The running, you couldn't run the ball at all. Offensive line was bad. So he's going to a bad team and he's 40. He ain't 20, he's 40. Brother got grace everywhere.
Still young.
And you think they gonna win?
Acho got grades too.
Hey, y'all don't laugh like you ain't got no grades, dog. I got no grades.
Hey, somebody who's not 40, Ant-Man Edwards. He's only 23 years old. But the problem is he's sitting down in this series 3-1. Ant Edwards stock after another performance that is subpar for him. Is it taking a hit?
It's not still high. It's still high.
Ant-Man Edwards, supposed to be the next face of the league, supposed to be the next star of the generation, supposed to be tied at least 2-2 in this series, but they're down 3-1. Didn't take a shot attempt in the first quarter until like the last minute of the game, of the first quarter, that is, rather. And now the Thunder, they're dominating. I can't help but suggest Ant-Man's stock is currently taking a hit, right? You're either getting better, you're getting worse, you're staying the same stock-wise, and the stock price is not staying the same. I watched the series, game one, I think he has 18 points. In the fourth quarter, I don't believe he scored. Maybe there were 2 points or so. Someone correct me if I am wrong. I watched the game four. He has 1 or 2 points, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe hit a tray ball in the first quarter. He has 16 points in game four. He has 18 points in game one. And what he most notably is a scorer. If he's a lockdown defender, how come SGA has 40 points on the other side? What defense is he locking down? So if you're supposed to be an elite scorer, you're giving me 16 points in one game, 18 points in another. Shout out to the 2 30-point games he got sandwiched in between then. If you're a lockdown defender, how come SGA just had a playoff career high on your watch while you were on the court? You weren't in foul trouble. You played the most minutes. You got to make sense of that for me. If I'm looking at Anthony Edwards, I'm not suggesting that he is not going to be what everybody believes he's capable of being. But what I am suggesting is, at this junction in time, he is not still currently ascending. At minimum, he's plateauing in my estimation. And at worst, he's getting worse.
Yeah.
Getting worse? Worse. Stock price-wise, not game, y'all, not game, James. Hear me before you make your reaction.
What do you stock? What do you mean?
Stock price-wise. Like, you know the stock market. You're a rich man. You make your investments. Is Anthony Edwards' value, is it currently ascending based upon what you're seeing, or is it currently descending? Is he closer to being the face of the league today than he was last week? Obviously not, because he's further away from winning a title today than he was last week. So I'm just saying stock price-wise, not as a basketball player.
Yeah, just answer that question. I'm curious. Do you think he is closer?
I'm buying stock in Anthony Edwards, man.
Of course, I didn't say you're buying it. I'm just saying, what's the price doing?
You already bought it.
Whatever
it's already in your portfolio.
the price is, my man is 23 years old, back-to-back
Come
West.
on now, how long are we going to do that?
How are we changing it?
How long are we going to do that?
When you buy stock,
Let me ask you this.
Looking at all that.
To that point, to Slick's point, is Anthony Edwards today closer to being the face of the league than he was a week ago?
I think he's closer this year. I think he's closer this year.
This we're talking about, is his stock taking a hit this series? That is the question. That's the bottom.
That's my answer. No. No.
I would say that his stock has been inflated, and we're getting the real on it. So has it dipped? I would say yes, it's dipped, because I'm watching all the other stars in the playoffs right now. Tyrese Haliburton, Jalen Brunson. Their stock is all rising. Correct. So you can't, like, when one stock, in the same category, when one stock goes up, the other one naturally goes down. They don't all rise at the same time. And what we're just seeing...
Really quick before you get into your great take you're about to get into. So you mean to tell me if Brunson loses tonight, y'all out on him? Like, stock-wise, he going down? Because he's down 3-1, the same as Ant.
But so much of this has to do with how, when we got into this with the whole Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is he better this year versus last year? So much of it has to do with not what you do in terms of the entirety of your numbers or your statistics, but when you're doing it. And that's my great issue with Ant, is that don't tell me that you made the right basketball play. If Rudy Gobert or Dante DiVincenzo or Jaden McDaniels or any role player says, you know what, I just made the right basketball play. I criticized LeBron James for the longest time because he would say the same thing. When he's giving up the ball and he's putting the game on the line to somebody else.
KCP in the corner.
I made the right basketball play. No, the right basketball play is you're the best player on the floor, and if you have a matchup that you should be taking advantage of, you have to take advantage of it. Period. And there's all too many times where Ant does not take advantage of his superiority on the floor. And what I love about Ant is that he is honest about it. He tells us, I can't always read the defense. Dante DiVincenzo tells me what they're doing. If you are a superstar player, like Jalen Brunson ain't telling, and he's not waiting for somebody else to tell him what the defense is doing to him. Tyrese Haliburton is not waiting for somebody else to tell him. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not waiting for Jalen Williams to say, hey, this is how they're playing it. This is the way. That's the step that Anthony Edwards has to take. And because he's telling us, he's told us, I haven't taken that step yet. Then the stock compared to the other stars is deflating.
All right, so I'm going to answer your question first. Ant-Man, stop taking that hit this season. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
Hell no what?
He's not taking a hit. His stock ain't taking no hit. We talking about Ant-Man? Let me just tell. Yeah,
I think collectively, the world out there is looking at Ant and going, you know what? He's not the next Michael Jordan.
Well,
that's what they're saying.
That's what they were saying, James.
Well, how about
they were saying that, and now they're not.
Because he jumped the way he jumped. No.
Well, hopefully I could kind of convince the world.
Please,
I can convince the world. So let's get this real quick. So Ant-Man is 23 years old. 23. Right? He's been in the league for 5 years.
Something like that.
Is that correct? 5 years? So 23 years old, been in the league for 5 years. Let's talk about his resume real quick. Because all these people that say on this and that and the third, I want you to know that the NBA is not like the rec center at your local gym, right? We come in and there's everybody just hooping. It's not like that. It's the best players in the whole entire world. So Ant-Man, in 5 years, he's been to 3 All-Star appearances, 2 All-NBAs, 2-time top 10 MVP votes, right? And back-to-back going to Western Conference Finals. So when you talk about a dude taking a hit at 23, only been in the league for 5 years, you accomplished this much. And then I want to show y'all one more thing. Can we show this? Show that for me a second. So you talk about winning the championship, right? Now, all these guys are all great, are they not?
They're great.
So Steph Curry, his first championship, 6 years in the league. Okay, he got Ant-Man beat there. Jason Tatum got a nice decorated resume. Took him 7 years to get his first chip. The GOAT, Michael Jeffrey Jordan to be exact, it took him 7 years. All the Duncan championships, all that he had going on, he didn't get his first chip to 7 years. Can we keep going? Jokic. You love Jokic, don't you? Love Jokic. You love him. Boy, you love him. 8 years, though. Giannis, he's Nigerian too, right? Y'all Nigerian? Yeah, they neighbors. They was neighbors. It took him 8 seasons to get a chip.
Shady.
Oh, no, don't shady me yet.
LeBron, no.
I'm still not the great LeBron James. It took him 9 years. Look, Jay, it took him 9, and he went to hold the team.
Dang.
I'm going to lead this team where I grew up at, and I'm going to go
Shady.
KD.
Kevin Durant.
Let him cook.
Wait, time out, though. Not the great Kevin Durant. It took him 10 years. Oh, my God.
He's overcooking, but
look. Hey, I learned from y'all.
He's having a conversation with himself.
himself.
That's right. I do
Not
it
the
a lot.
Dallas legend.
Not the Dallas, Texas legend. I chose.
He's talking to himself
Look, he be
right
like,
now.
because when I go back home,
I'm listening
I
to
ride
him.
past
I'm listening.
30 Street. You go past that street a lot?
See the statue.
I'll be in my Lexus. Yeah. So anyway, now we done with that. So my point is,
If you're going to hijack the plane, put a mask on first.
Thank
hey
you.
man, I don't like to say them words. I just want to take over the plane. Real quick. The last thing is, so when you talk about these players, have a little bit more respect. We need to respect the player a little bit more. Because the stuff that he's doing, everybody ain't doing that.
Shady should be a magician.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
Hey, that was a phenomenal take.
You know what
Hey,
magicians
that's
do?
a-
They make you look over here.
I know I deal with the hate.
They make you look.
right?
They make you look
at the
over
shiny
here.
object.
Excuse me.
They make you look. Excuse me.
That's a phenomenal take.
You know how I do it? Hey, you a brother.
Always.
Brother, we stick together.
Always.
Now we hold it down. You know what I'm
Man, they
saying?
be tripping
Excuse
out
me,
here.
dog.
You know what I'm saying? Get by it. Don't let them rub off on you.
You know what I mean?
Don't get too close.
Yeah,
Don't
you know
let
what I
them
mean?
rub off on you,
Shady
man.
should be. Because what Shady will do, he'll make you look over here, and everything occurring is actually over here. That was a phenomenal take.
Great take.
For a completely different question.
Yep.
That was a phenomenal take for a completely
He answered
different
the
day.
question.
That was a phenomenal take for a completely different show. But for this show and this question and this day, that was not the right take.
Can I get in here real quick?
Go ahead,
Oh, man.
Shady.
So, first to answer your question, no. Obviously, I'm with my dog Shady. No. But I stood up here and I'm learning from Shady and Nacho. You know, every time he introduce you, the greatest basketball savant and all this type of stuff.
He is. He's that. He's that.
I listen to Slick. And you keep saying that Dante DiVincenzo keeps on helping them read defenses and all that. You sat up here probably about a week or two ago and you said Anthony Edwards needs to learn how to make the right play, the right pass, how to give the ball up, this and that. And then when he gets double teamed, split the double team and go attack the basket and do all, like,
sound
we
confused.
are grading Anthony Edwards so tough right now, and he's a young 23-year-old superstar player. I do not get it why he's getting so much of this criticism on how he's playing the game of basketball. My man is averaging 25 points in this series and 6 assists, and he's almost shooting 50%. And I understand some games he don't score the ball at will and all that and do that or force shots. But we talking about losing stock in Anthony Edwards, and he's in the Western Conference Finals. All 4 of us unanimous up here didn't expect him to be here. Not this year, not last year. And he has his team here. We seen them play one game against the Lakers, and we said this series over for the Lakers because of Anthony Edwards and the people that they have. And now we are just saying anything Anthony Edwards does, I feel right now, is he got to do it better. And I don't think that's fair. First, hey, he scored a basketball. He's making these threes. He done made the most threes in the season and all that. And now we saying split the double teams. Then when he split the double teams, we're saying he got to see the defense better. I don't know which one it is, Slick. And he got to make the right pass. I don't know which one it is, Slick. Because you told me that.
But no, there was a distinct difference for me between the last game, 2 games ago, and this game in terms of how he
His
attacked.
threes was falling, though, last game.
No.
Said 2 games ago.
He created it for other guys because he was getting into the paint and he was creating for other guys. And there is.
So you don't think it's a difference in the way they defended him, though, in the last...
Look, I think there were some opportunities there because OKC was missing shots, and so there was more transition opportunities. But still, I thought he was much more aggressive in recognizing what he was doing. He was more decisive than anything else. in the previous game. And I saw again where there's this hesitancy. Look, the clock's ticking. You got to make a decision. You're going to go or you're going to move it, and then I'm going to move and get it back. And I don't see that on a consistent basis from Ant. And yes, we do grade him tough because of his talent and all that he has accomplished.
He's accomplished a lot now.
Ultimately, I'm not going to judge him on numbers. I'm going to judge him on the effect that he has on the game. And the only way you get that is to watch the game and say, did Ant drive the bus or was Ant along for the ride? Ooh. And when he was when they won, he drove that bus.
Okay, all right.
And in this one, he was along for the ride. And I'm not going to look, what Julius Randle does well, I'm going to credit him. But I am in no way expecting him to do what Ant Edwards does. To me, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
It starts with Ant.
Hey, how many years the Timberwolves been around? They've been around for a long time, huh?
Long time.
James, when do you think the last time they've been to a conference game? And I don't be knowing nothing. I just
prior to Ant, it was probably with Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett!
Yeah.
30 years ago.
Now think about it for a second. They trying to criticize this kid and all this and that. A 23-year-old that's been in the league for 5 years, something like that. Not really a lot. Been a back-to-back Western Conference Finals. That's a history. I haven't done that in years. Okay? And then we add the all NBAs and all that type of stuff. So yes, maybe he didn't reach his ceiling yesterday or this series. Cool. But I tell you what, the GM, the head coach, the president, the owner, they are excited because they know what's coming. So every superstar player that we talk about that's great now, that's arrived in y'all's opinion, they went through this. Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan went through it. Everybody went through this. So I'm okay with that. I guess y'all can't see the future. I can see it. And it's bright for number 3 or number 5.
Nobody's saying his future's not going to be bright. We're just saying this series, like Luka Doncic in the NBA Finals last year, took a hit. Nobody it's not an indictment.
When you say take a hit, what do you mean by that? Because I look at Luka the same way I looked at him when he was playing the Warriors in the West Conference Finals. I look at the same way for Luka as I did last year. You're getting better and better and better. He can be a little better, I guess, in shape. That ain't gonna change who he really is. And man, this one, and I always argue with y'all about this, right? Y'all not taking into consideration how hard the elite level of NFL, NBA is. Mm-hmm. Every year we're looking for the best crops around the world. There's a guy they pay all this money to go all around the world. His passport is stamped every other day. Yep. We're trying to find a great player. Yeah. This brother at 23 is doing stuff unheard of. Yep. How can your stock drop? Because all he keeps doing is elevating.
But it's the exact opposite.
Crazy to me.
I know how hard it is to get there. Oh, man. And I know how rare it is to get there. And I don't want to credit anybody for getting there before they actually have.
Correct. And we make that mistake in sports all the time.
All the time.
With every athlete. All the time.
The number of times that I heard, you know what, if Vince Carter or Penny Hardaway had been with Shaquille O'Neal, he could have done what Kobe Bryant did.
We do that all the time.
That's a complete disservice for guys who actually did it.
I ain't putting them dudes in. I ain't
do that. But they did.
Ant-Man different than them dudes you talking about, too.
When we return, they said that about everybody before. The number of quarterbacks are no longer rookies. They're moving on to their sophomore seasons. What do they need to do to surge in year 2 as OTAs begin today? Just 100 days away from the NFL season beginning. That's next, The Facility. Beautiful people, 100 days away from the start of the NFL season, but we are starting off-season team activities today, which means the rookie quarterbacks of last year are ready to take their second step. Michael Penix Jr., J.J. McCarthy, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, amongst others, are the notable names that can change the trajectory of the franchise. And the quarterback, the one and only Chase Daniel, educate us on what will happen for these second-year Qs.
I love it. Look, a lot of people talk about the sophomore slump. There's 6 quarterbacks taken within the first 12 picks of last year's draft. Some really good, some really bad. We're going to get into what they need to do to surge to the next level. And you know we got to start with the number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams on the field. He's great. No issue at all. Doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. Takes a ton of sacks. The number 1 thing for him is the mental aspect of the game. Understanding where to go with the football. Understanding that a throwaway instead of a sack is not a bad play. Understanding where hot routes are. He's good at the line of scrimmage, handling protections, but take your mental game up a notch. It's going to be fascinating to see what head coach Ben Johnson has in store for his second year. Moving on, Jaden Daniels. This one is tough. I'm not going to lie, Acho. When I heard Jaden Daniels, I'm like, He got his team to the NFC Championship game. I understand that. If I had to nitpick one small thing about him, I would say he's staying in the pocket a little bit longer instead of running the football so much. He relied so much on his legs, especially if you watch the first 5 games specifically. He is so good at getting outside of the pocket. The one thing I loved about him coming out of college is he's a true dual threat quarterback. He's a pocket passer first and then a runner. So for him, just staying in the pocket a little bit longer, like I said, this is nitpicking. He got all the way to the NFC Championship game. Let's move to Drake May. Here's a guy who I think has a ton of potential. Obviously has Mike Vrabel this year. He has Josh McDaniels as an offensive coordinator. For him, eliminate critical errors. You showed some good, you showed some bad. He threw 10 interceptions last year, had 9 fumbles, all in 12 games this year. The NFL, to me, often comes down to 5 or 6 plays. And when you watch him, there were times he had a chance to make some plays, just some sloppy mistakes. With Josh McDaniels' help, I believe this is like a year 1 for him. He's going to start over. They're going to build him from the ground up. I think Drake May has a chance to be special this year. Going to Atlanta, Michael Penix Jr. He only started 3 games. The biggest thing for him is experience. What does it look and feel like to be an NFL quarterback week in and week out? And that was the issue I saw with him. He was very green. Like I said, only started 3 games. How is this going to progress? How is practice going to be? What does your reps look like in the season? He was running scout team for 15 weeks of the year. Him and Zach Robinson, offensive coordinator. They have to figure out what each other likes, and I think that marriage will go a long way into deciding the NFC South Division. J.J. McCarthy, he's next, okay? The Minnesota Vikings, they said he is our guy. The only issue is he's never played an NFL game. He played 1 preseason game, so experience for him. He has to understand what it feels like to be an NFL starter, the practices, the meetings, when guys come to you, when head coaches come to you, all that pressure mounts. I think physically he's got all the tools, but he's never gone through a week in the NFL as a starter. He doesn't know what a practice week is like. A lot of pressure on them because Minnesota Vikings, they have a Ferrari of a team. And then lastly, Bo Nix, one of my favorite guys coming out, the Denver Broncos. 10-7, got them to the playoffs with Sean Payton. I like that about this guy, Bo Nix. The number one thing for him, pocket passing. If you remember all those wonderful offenses that Sean Payton had with Drew Brees. Drew Brees was a pocket passer. They got Bo Nix on the run. He was really good outside of the pocket this year. He needs to just figure out a couple more ways to stand in there, take a little less sacks, getting more comfortable behind the offensive line and under center. And all these guys, look, we're going to see a surge in all of them, I believe, but who is going to be the one with a sophomore slump? It's impossible to tell. I think I'm most excited about Drake May.
Absolutely phenomenal. So much with these young quarterbacks, so much brewing. Well, there was a quarterback who was young and is now older. That's Jordan Love. The Packers, they made the playoffs last season, made the playoffs the year before, but with Jordan Love entering the same year that Aaron Rodgers entered when he won a Super Bowl, is that what Jordan Love needs to do? What's the stake for the quarterback? Jordan Love, that's next. Jordan Love has led the Packers to the playoffs back-to-back seasons. Now they have a clean slate. Their OTAs, off-season team activities starting today. Helmets, they're on. Jerseys, they're on. Shoulder pads soon to come. But Jordan Love got some help this year, this offseason at wide receiver. Matthew Golden, first-round pick, one of the fastest 40s run at the NFL Combine. James Jones, you were at the draft. You saw them draft Love. But more importantly, you were at the Packers for 8 seasons, 8 great seasons, won a Super Bowl there. You know what it means to be a Packer. So what's the stake for Jordan Love?
Staying healthy, number one. Staying healthy, number one. And, I mean, for Jordan Love, I mean, I believe it's time to deliver. I do. You, first year you came on the scene, started off a little rocky. We understood that. And then you finished the season so strong, looking like one of the next great quarterbacks in the National Football League. Last year, you dealt with a lot of injuries. Season was kind of up and down. You still were able to get your team to the playoffs, back-to-back playoff appearances, and you won a game in Dallas. But this year's the year, man. They've put a really good roster around you. You have Josh Jacobs in the backfield. They drafted another receiver for you. You probably have arguably from top to bottom, 1 through 5, the best wide receiver group in the National Football League. You have a really good offensive line, and you have 2 really good tight ends. And not only that, your defense is going to be much better. So it is time to win this division, and it is time to get into the playoffs and make some noise and deliver, because if you are healthy, the sky's the limit for this Packers team. I believe Jordan Love's going to play at a high level, but he needs to stay healthy and play some consistent football. And if he does, it's going to be a really good Packers football team, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much at stake, to be honest with you, for Jordan Love. You look at his first 2 seasons and really studied. I agree. They started 3-6 in 2023. Didn't do well. He played excellent down the stretch, went to Dallas,
Yes, he did.
Won that playoff game, almost beat the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional round to get to an NFC championship in your first year starting. And then last year, look, it's not an excuse. He was injured a lot of the year. His knee, his groin, his calf, all this stuff. And he didn't play as well as he wanted. In fact, probably too many interceptions down the stretch that hurt him. But he still got his team back to where it is. We've seen that when Jordan Love is healthy, he's a 4,000-yard passer and a 30-touchdown guy. And they've gotten better through the years, along with LaFleur. So for me, I'm not of course, I think they're going to make the playoffs. Oh, yeah. They should win a game or 2. But if they get to the playoffs, win a game, and then lose in the divisional round again, I'll be like, okay. All right, this roster's good enough to get to where he was, but it all depends on, how he plays down the stretch. So for me, I don't think they're going to be looking at you being like, oh, you can't deliver, or I'm not, at least me up here on this desk, I'm not going to be looking at you like, oh, man, you let the Packers down, you're not elite, you're not this. I think he's a really good quarterback. Yes. I think he has a great roster around him. So for me, it's just a little too early to tell, because we've seen it in his first year. We've seen what he can do, and he was injured last year. I get it. We want to see him take that next step. At least I do. But to say something's at stake that's huge for me, it's
But can't deliver. We're not sitting here saying he can't deliver. All of us believe Jordan Love's a good quarterback. But when will you say that? How many first-round exits are?
I mean, they won a playoff game.
I know how many.
I don't know. I think this year, because of the roster that Green Bay has around him, is a big year for Jordan Love and the Packers and LaFleur to show that they can win in the playoffs and not just be good in the regular season.
I think what's at stake is if he doesn't play well and doesn't deliver, there's going to be some movements. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be him, maybe a head coach, maybe some coordinators or something. Think of what I'm about to say here for a second. So the problem is, right, we can't see his real growth and have this much patience with him, because you know why? He got paid so fast, right? So after 1 year, we just pay you. You get what I'm saying? Where other quarters, you can see they're growing. Okay, you know what? Should we pay him? Should we? They paid him right away. My thing is, it's time for him to take that next step, to be a super. He's not a superstar. He's a good quarterback. He has the potential to be a superstar. And I think it's time to make that right step. So when he beat the Cowboys, I said, the talented Jordan Love we know, he coming to his own. These next 2 years, he's going to be. And then last year, he kind of took a step back. And it's like, if you don't take that big step like I want, we're going to be at the same spot every year. A lot of potential, and we're going to wait, and we'll wait. And the NFL, they don't wait for nobody. Only position they probably wait a little longer for is a quarterback. So what I'm saying is, if he don't really make that next step, because now they're getting all the right pieces for him. To go out there, get a solid line, go out there, get one of the top 3 running backs in the league, right, with Jacobs. Okay, now we go out there, get an explosive wide receiver. So we doing everything for you. Eventually, we need to get something back. And if we don't get nothing back in these next couple of years, we're going to be talking about movement. Somewhere, somehow, something.
Aaron Rodgers, 3rd year as a starter, Super Bowl. Jordan Love's 3rd year as a starter, Super Bowl. I guess we'll see. Hey, when we return, we know what we need to see from the Knicks. That's the W. They're down 2-1 in the series. Game 4 tonight. Jalen Brunson, what will he do? But most importantly, Thibodeau made a erratic, spontaneous change to the starting lineup. Game 3, what's it mean for Game 4?
It worked for him, huh?
Hey, the Knicks, they got another one tonight. Jalen Brunson, he did not play the majority of that second half, you could suggest, because of foul trouble, at least not the fourth quarter at least. But either way, they got the dub. Meanwhile, Tom Thibodeau made a striking change before Game 3 it was. He benched Josh Hart and he started Mitchell Robinson. People did not know what in the world was going to happen. Ultimately, it ended up succeeding. The Knicks got the W. More pressure tonight. Brunson or the head coach, Thibodeau? Answer quickly because I have several follow-ups.
Yes, it is Tom Thibodeau. And it's largely because Brunson's going to do what Brunson's going to do. The question is going to be, how does Tibbs utilize him? One of the reasons he made the change in the starting lineup was to have Mitchell Robinson out there to get Jalen Brunson free. But here's the wrinkle that nobody is talking about.
What is it?
That's the fact that Jalen's dad is assistant coach Rick Brunson. Okay. And people in the league will tell you he is the most influential, powerful assistant coach in the league. If you watch him operate, watch him. He talks. You would think he was the associate head coach. You might think he was the head coach, the way he talks to opponents, the way he talks to players, the way he walks around the floor. If Tibbs doesn't use Jalen the exact right way, he's got his dad sitting right next to him, the most powerful assistant coach, and there's going to be some second guessing going on.
Okay, maybe the Packers highlight was an omen to Jalen Brunson doing a little more dishing in this game. But Slick, answer me this, because Tibbs showed me he has all the cards in the deck to win the game, but he doesn't necessarily play them the right way. Last game showed me, wait a second, you got the McBride, you got the Shaman, you got the Wright, you got the Robinson, so you got the cards in the deck, but you haven't been playing them properly. Knowing what he did last game, do you expect him to use his bench more or no?
Not based on Tibbs' history. Tibbs has always played it close to the vest. He's always done what he's always done. And we've seen it in a variety of ways. He'll be up by 20. He's had guys who've been worn out at the end of the season. Does he play them any less? Does he go into the bench? He never has. So in this instance, he has been forced in some ways because of foul trouble to go deeper into the bench. But that wasn't by design. That was by desperation.
I'm going to leave it at that. I was going to ask you another one, but that wasn't by design. That was by desperation. When somebody drops a bar, you do not follow it up and you do not ruin the moment. Hey, when we return, it is time for a Blitz meeting. It has been a phenomenal show thus far, but we got a little bit more for you. That's next, the Facilities. Hey, two of the top stars in Major League Baseball, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, they lead the league in batting averages. But on the other side, Ohtani hit his league-leading 19th home run last night.
That's cool.
19 of them.
That's
Shady,
cool.
who would you rather pay to see, Judge or Ohtani?
That's cool.
That's cool.
Well, you want them Yankees? You got that 9-9 on, you that captain. I'm going with Aaron Judge, baby. Come on, stop playing around, man. You serious?
Look, man.
New York, stand up.
I'm going to say it like this. I'm going to see Shohei, but I'm going to go to Cosm, so I don't know if I'm going to pay to see it. I'm going to just go to the Cosm and watch it about 45 minutes down the road.
It's got to be Shohei. He hasn't pitched since 2023, but he did throw some batting practice last week. So with Shohei's hitting like he is, leading the league in majors, and then if he just pitches like maybe a little bit, you get 2 for 1.
No doubt, no doubt. It's Shohei without a doubt. I know my dude with his Yankee fitted over there. He fitted, but I mean, when you get a dude that can pitch and hit, and you might be able to see him do both in the same.
Exciting,
Come on, man.
yeah.
Come on, man.
Hey, the pinstripes are swaggy, though. I'm not going to lie to you. Hey, Bills, Texans, Chiefs, Ravens, Eagles, Lions, Rams, they all won the division last season. But that's last season. It's on to a new year. Who is the most vulnerable division
This should be a
winner?
sweep.
This is the easy one. I'm going with the team where the winner every year is like 9-8. Who was that?
They won 10 games.
Like, it's crazy. You know, like Baker's playing well. It's still hard to like give Baker that edge.
Come on, man. Y'all should have done it when we all said it in unison.
I think this division.
Atlanta's
better.
Yeah,
I don't think the Bucs are just favorites to win.
That's a bad division.
They're never favorites. Never favorites.
That's
never favorites. man.
Like, you win 9 games, you win the division.
Okay, moving on. Rookie running back Ashton Genty has some lofty goals for his first season. He says he wants 1,500 yards. Andy, get me this answer. How many times did Shady go?
Oh, no, not Shady.
How many times did Shady go for 15
Not
and
Shady.
10 in a season? And Ashton Genty wants 1,500 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns his rookie season. 10 plus.
I'm gonna say yes though. I think with Chip Kelly, they're gonna run the ball, and then your quarterback, Smith, who's gonna keep everybody kind of honest. I mean, where else you go with the ball? Maybe the tight end. I mean, who else getting the ball?
Kobe. I'll put it like this. For clarity, the Eagles Hall of Famer, Eagles rushing leader, LaShawn Shady McCoy, never went for 1,500 rushing yards and 10 plus touchdowns.
Whoa, what? Time out.
Rushing yards, not
total. Rushing.
Not total.
Rushing.
Oh, the rushing in. Oh, rushing touchdowns?
Yeah.
Okay, that went on 1,500. That was.
That's a lot of yards, too, man.
If Shady ain't do it, no, Ashton Genty ain't.
So I got no, and I'm going to read off this.
But I didn't run the ball like a lot. He's gonna run the ball.
Yeah, but
I didn't run the ball like
You had
twice.
300 carries, and you don't have the same offensive coordinator in your best year. His OC's Chip Kelly, your head coach is Chip Kelly, your best
There's
year.
only 6 running backs who have rushed, rookie running backs who have rushed for 1,500 yards and 10-plus touchdowns.
Well, let me guess.
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson.
Nope.
O.J. Simpson.
Nope. Barry Sanders.
Nope. Ezekiel
Hold on!
Elliott, Alfred Morris, Clinton Portis,
Alfred
Edgerrin
Morris.
James,
Clinton was
Eric
nice.
Dickerson, George Rodgers.
Also, you're saying
That's
there's
it.
a chance.
Not realistic.
You know, I tell my kids all the time, man, football season coming up, man, write your
So
goals
let me
down.
guess.
Write your goals down. What you want to accomplish, man. Write your goals down on paper so you can go chase them. Come on, man, go chase your goals.
Writing your
I
goals
understand.
down and being realistic.
We don't know what
I mean, we just had a conversation about college. He had 2,000 in college.
did. Why can't he go 1,500?
Right, why not?
Because you didn't do it, Shady.
Why not?
It don't matter. He's coming from college to where
Right.
he had 2,000. You think he ain't thinking, I come here, man, they can't stop me.
Did you just hear there's
Hey,
6
hey,
rookie running backs in the
Can
history?
we do a poll though? Can we do a poll tomorrow? Everybody's good in college. Can we do that poll?
Everybody's not good in college.
Everybody's good in college.
You're going to have a bunch of people on social media who couldn't even make it to college ball.
No,
Answer the question.
They probably was trash then. They probably were trash.
Hey, you doing to people like that? huh?
Trash?
You can't go to, you can't, I mean, college.
Great or trash?
Shady, you know how hard it is to play Division I football?
You know how many people, like high school?
I don't know, because I go to the NFL, there's a whole bunch of guys with all these big names, and
is
they
true.
be on the pond, they be on the bench. Grab me the water, give me the water.
Elite of the elite, though, Shady.
I mean, well,
Some people good in college, not good in the pros.
that's
all
right,
good.
because the best of the best.
Of course, that's common sense.
But in college, you're supposed to be the best.
You're not playing the
Y'all
best of the
told
best.
me that Tebow is the greatest of all time.
In college.
Not y'all told me.
He my bad.
I didn't say. I think.
Hey, James, I couldn't believe he was that bad. I said, where the real Tebow at? Let's stop playing.
I would have said Cam.
He's looking like he didn't win a playoff game.
Hurt his next.
Damn.
Watch that.